All right, so this is the first meditation class that I've given by myself. Even last week we had one staff member here, and tonight it's just me. As you can see, the dojo is looking very empty, and I'm probably legally not supposed to be here. So for all of you guys watching, this is my home. I live in the dojo now. This talk is for all of us. It's getting rough out there. The world is dealing with it. And the title of the talk is Circumstances, because the challenge of the week, or the question of the week, was how do I stay confident and grounded no matter what the circumstances are? And I don't know if I have a real answer for this, or like the answer. I never do. But the thing that I've been talking about a lot this week is in connection with the challenge of the week. The challenge of the week is to get your longest horse stance time. And part of the idea here is martial arts is a practice of connecting the mind and the body, and we play around with that connection. We recognize that when we are in a certain mental state, it's reflected in our physical state. And when we are in a certain physical state, it's oftentimes reflected by our mental state. So it's very difficult to be physically loose and off balance, yet be very grounded and confident. It's very difficult to be standing kind of like this and feel like I've got so much energy, I'm ready to go and seize the day. So the way that we practice being, in a good fighting stance, or for example in the horse stance with your spine very straight and everything solid and rooted, this has an effect on our mental state and our emotional state. So the talk is not going to be like, you should do more horse stance. I mean, you should, but this is more like just a general pick-me-up. So things are the way that they are. And it's silly to expect them to be otherwise. It is silly to just kind of be in this woe is me, like I can't believe this is happening to me. It's, I think, helpful to recognize like everybody else is in the same boat as us. And there are people who it's slightly better for, slightly worse for, but at the end of the day, like, we are all just in this together. And I think that on the one hand, that might be a little bit scary to recognize, like, there might not be a world that we recognize after this. But on the other hand, it's all about perspective. We recognize that there's an entire globe, there's an entire world of people. The whole human population is really pushing and pulling together for this. Then I think that kind of perspective is a lot more powerful and useful for us. So this talk is going out to all the people that we've been talking to. I was asking Catherine, she's been calling a lot of the students, and I've obviously been talking to people in my own life, and they've been telling us about the experiences that they're having. So some people are like, I lost my job. I have no way of paying for groceries. I am in a seriously dire place right now. And I know people in my own life. My parents are sick. My parents both have, they swear to me that it's not coronavirus, but they both got, like, my mom's got a fever, and my dad's got, like, a terrible sore throat, and I talked to him today, and it was like talking to a pile of dust. I mean, it's rough out there, and it's if it's not directly affecting you, it's directly affecting somebody that you know, for sure. And it is very easy to get kind of wrapped up in or be drowning in this feeling, this experience of everything's terrible and this is just going to keep getting worse. The truth is, it probably will get worse before it gets better, but it's also going to get better. And I cannot personally go out there and help everybody, but somebody is there. And if there's not somebody there for you, if you need it, ask. And if you're on the other side of the country and you can't find anybody to ask us, and we'll find somebody who can help. But help is coming. Help is coming from lots of different places, and I can't promise you exactly where it is, and I'm sounding like a politician here, but I promise you that it is not just going to go like this until we're all done. So we have to do the best that we can with this time that we've got. And I was talking about this last week in general in classes, about this idea of, in a meditation class, not just surviving this, but thriving in whatever way that we can. And that, it's not always easy to think about thriving, because survival is like the best that we can do. And so I don't want to talk right over that and pretend that everybody's in a situation where they can just fully thrive. Maybe what you can do right now is just deal. And take your practice as an example. So I've got this nice, beautiful place to teach in, and some of you guys, I've been seeing, I've gotten this level of intimacy with the students that I've never had before. I can see into everybody's home where you're practicing, and some people are like, they're adjusting their cameras every 5 seconds. They're like, here, let me just put this down so you can see my feet, and then here, let me move this up here, and half the time I see this, and half the time I just see your feet. But it's because, people are practicing almost in like a closet sometimes. And I see that and I go, yeah, like that's what you might have to do. In order to make this happen, you might have to go in a closet. It's the only space that you've got. And your side steps might have to be super tiny. And your front punches are not going 98%, or you're going to punch the camera. But you deal. You do the best that you can. And I've seen some people who are just like, to heck with it. I literally don't have enough space to practice in my house. I'm going outside. And so we had a bunch of people today go take their cameras out to their front porch or to their parking lot. I had a student in class this morning who had to pause every couple of minutes because there was a car coming through. And that is what is going to happen for some of us. So we recognize that nobody is in the ideal situation for practice. If you were, you'd be in the dojo. I'm not in an ideal place to teach, but I see this and I'm reminded of my life. When I gave the first meditation talk that I ever gave at Sifu Brown School back in Michigan, the gist of it was like Ryan Scott, because I wasn't Sifu back then. It was Ryan Scott's Secrets for Success. It's like be born a white man in America and have money from your parents. And we don't all have that situation. But what we have is the option to have the kind of attitude of recognizing where we are lucky. And it would be stupid of me to think like everybody's got the same opportunities that I've had. It's ridiculous. Even right now, this is affecting some of you guys way worse than it's affecting me. Living in LA, and there are a ton of people here getting it, but we're not even close. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to hit us way worse. But what I recognize in myself, and I'm far from perfect at this, but this is what I've noticed in my own life. Has been a big help for me in my growth as a person, and my ability to be more happy and fulfilled, and kind of thinking and acting from a powerful place, is I recognize that I'm still very lucky. And I'm obviously luckier than many people in the situation that I find myself in, but even in these circumstances, I'm lucky. It could be way worse, but I'm not even talking about like in comparison to everybody else. I mean, like just for me, it could be way worse. I could not be able to teach classes at all. There are a lot of people who don't have the ability to teach classes on Zoom like we're doing, and I cannot even imagine how insane that must make a martial arts teacher when they can't actually see what's going on and be able to teach and continue to do what they do, because
I never had to experience it. They came out with the order like, okay, LA, you're on lockdown. You're not allowed to go anywhere. All gyms and fitness places are closed completely. And so I just got on the phone with Catherine Macy, and we were like, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do about classes? How are we going to get to the students still? And Catherine figured out a solution, and by Monday afternoon, we were ready to go on Zoom, and we sent it out to everybody, and that was it. We literally did not miss a single class. And that's not me. I didn't do that at all. Honestly, if it were me and I didn't have Catherine, we would probably still be trying to figure out how to do this. And so I'm very lucky to have a super dedicated staff and a super dedicated group of students that still show up for classes. It would be breaking my heart if I couldn't be doing this at all, but it would almost break my heart a little bit more if I were teaching classes and 2 people or 1 person showed up for class. We've had more people in class now than we had before. And I recognize that even though it's hard to teach under these circumstances, I'm lucky. And I think that there's some psychological thing at play here. I don't remember how it works or what it is, but it's like they say that the people who are the happiest are the people who recognize all of the good stuff that happens and the good stuff that we're able to do and accomplish in life. It is like it's the luck. It's like it has happened by some kind of grace. And I think that to take that attitude towards all things positive that we have and to recognize what we still do have and what we're still able to do in these insane circumstances, to really feel how lucky we are, to feel how blessed by whatever it is that we believe in we are, to be able to keep functioning in whatever way that we can. And some of us that don't have jobs, we can't work, we can't do the things that we want to do, including just, paying for food, paying for rent, all that stuff that we need to do. It's really tough to see the luck. It's really tough to see the positive in that situation. But this is part of what we need to do. As martial artists, I talk about this all the time. We see a challenge, we see the negative, but instead of treating that as something that is just a barrier to run up against, we see that as a possibility. We see that as an opportunity to grow. And for us teaching classes, this has pushed us into reaching people that we wouldn't have reached otherwise. For you guys who are at home and you can't work and you can't do all the other stuff that you want to be able to do, think of how is this an opportunity? How is this something that I can kind of flip around and see from the other side? What can I do here? How can I use this to grow and to get better? And we have to start with that ability to survive, but then with our attitude recognize how can we turn this into a thriving situation. So if you want more on that, listen to last week's talk. I talked about it at length. When I see the faces of our students as they tune in, and this is, I'm sure, everybody who's listening right now, you are the same people who you're the only people who watch these talks, and you're the same people who show up to class. But it's your faces that I see. And when I see you guys show up, and it's like the first couple of minutes of class, the first couple of seconds when you turn on the camera, it's kind of like I made it. I don't really know how I'm still here, but I'm still here. We do it. And then we start going, and it's like you get right back into the same mental state, the same emotional state that you used to when you were here physically in class. And that kind of attitude that you just do not allow yourself to give up. You are propelling yourself forward and getting the most out of this situation. And I mean, like, some of you guys, I know you're out of work, and some of you have been still showing up to class. And on the one hand, it's like it's scary and you're worried about it, but on the other hand, you're recognizing I've got this free time. I may as well do something with it. So do that. Show up to class. And it is so important right now. It is more important than really it ever has been before for us to take care of ourselves, for you guys to set aside that time. If you are out there looking for a new job, do that. Go hard and turn over every rock and do every single thing that you need to. And included in that, set aside some time to take care of yourself. Meditation, practicing, making sure that whatever food it is that you are getting, it's healthy, and you're really taking care of your immune system, your body, your mind, your spirit, all of this. So this doesn't seem like much of an opportunity, and I get that it's very hard to see what you can feel lucky about in this situation, but do the best that you can. And if you guys are really struggling, call. I might not be able to help in any other way other than to just kind of hear what you're going through and help you in whatever way that I can. And reach out to somebody in your life. If it is really rough, use this as an opportunity. I've called people in the last week that I've not talked to in months or years, because I've got the free time, and I recognize this is the time to reach out and connect to people. The more connected that we are, the stronger that we feel those bonds, the more we recognize that we're not just going to fade away into nothing. The world is not just going to disappear, and neither are we. There exists this network, this world of people who are there pulling for you still. So reach out for them, to them, and also be that person. If you have the ability, be that person for somebody else in your life. You might know somebody who you recognize, they're never going to call me. They're just sitting at home, and I know that it's not going well for them. So call them, and don't show up to their house, because you're not supposed to do that. But call them and talk to them, and come at it from the best possible attitude that you can. And even if you can't do anything else other than just give somebody a call, recognize how lucky you are to be able to do that still. Recognize how amazing it is to still have these people in our lives that we can count on and that they can count on us. And we at the dojo are here. We are not going anywhere. I don't care if we have to shut down the physical space and I got to teach in a park or in my apartment, whatever it is. I don't care if I have to move into the dojo. I'm doing it. Catherine and the other staff are there. They're doing it. They're taking care of everything else that needs to get taken care of, and it is way more than I even could have possibly imagined it is, but it's happening. So remember to be there for everybody else and be there for yourself. Take care of yourself, and recognize just with every second that you can how lucky we are to still be here, and see the positives in whatever you can. Have a great night. Meditate. Sit very comfortably.